loud.
What did I do?
You're moving or something, and it's like making the most annoying. What's up, guys? What's up, guys? It's the Four Horsemen Fantasy Football Podcast. My name is Josh Romine. With me tonight, I got Alex DeVinny Stoner. How are you, Alex?
I'm doing good. I'm not making any goofy ass sounds.
Yeah, no, you're definitely not. And I got Joshua Van Cleve, who is making goofy sounds. How are you, Joshua?
I hate PCs.
Yeah, they're the worst. We do not have Brent Walker tonight. I thought maybe he might text me and join in the middle of the show, but we will see what that if he does. If not, no biggie. We can move on without him, right?
He's finally off the boat. He's home.
Yes, he is back home.
Extended vacation.
I wish I could take an extended vacation. Maybe not held out at sea because of a hurricane, but I would take it at this point in my life. I would do it. But this show, we're going to kind of just recap what happened in week one, some of the bigger news, talk about some rookies, talk about some injuries. I don't even want to bury the lead. I want to get right into it. David Johnson hurt his wrist. You saw him pull him out when they were down by the goal line. You know, you don't really think you know what's going on. Kerwin Williams gets the next carry, takes it in for a touchdown. News comes out, David Johnson is having wrist surgery. He is expected to miss 2 to 3 months. They're going to put him on the IR designated to return. PFT had said that Arians hoped to have him back by Christmas, I think was his direct quote.
Oh, my God.
What? I mean, it's the number one consensus overall pick down in week one. I can't remember that happening.
No.
Not in our fantasy lifetime.
It's you kind of had to look at last year with AP coming off a season where he was the rushing champion. I mean, he was still a first round selection, but
right.
More like maybe the third or fourth. As a David Johnson owner, I wasn't even mad. Like, it was just one of those things that I was just so I was annoyed. Like, okay, I want to deal with that in week 4, 5, 6.
Right.
I have to deal with this out of the gate. I have to reconstruct my team to fit in this enormous. I'll say that at least for me, we have a dynasty league, and it's an auction league, so it's not a snake draft. If you drafted David Johnson, what were you getting at the back end of that second round? You weren't getting something that you were gonna you were hoping if you had a guy that was your number 2 guy, or you went wide receiver, or maybe even went out and grabbed maybe Gronk or something. If you're in redraft leagues where it was a snake draft, you are hurting.
Unless you listened and you drafted Ezekiel Elliott and he fell to the end of the set, then you're sitting pretty good, because it does look like Zeke's.
That was exactly that's exactly what I mean. That's exactly what I would want to have done.
Right. And that's about the only situation that you can feel really good. It's never going to feel good losing your first round pick. Fantasy football people, you can move on from this. Your season is not ended yet. You can hopefully get lucky on the waiver wire, find something, try to work a trade. But Van Cleve, if you own David Johnson, and we'll talk about redraft first, would you be looking to try to trade him, or are you basically saying, hey, if I can make the championship game, I'm just going to keep him on my IR. I'll pull him off at the end, and maybe I'll get something out of him?
See, it's tough because with his reports, the earliest he can get back, we're looking at maybe November.
Mm-hmm.
And the latest reports is back in December. So we're looking at closer towards the weeks, to the end of our season, to where is it really going to matter when he gets back?
Right. But that's the thing. If it's Christmas, that's week 16.
Yes.
Would you maybe be trying to sell somebody on the earlier timeline? Maybe you can get some value.
You know what? I just want to kind of throw this out here, though. How terrible does Arizona look?
Yeah, I mean, they looked awful week one.
Do you honestly think if they continue to play that way, do you think he's coming back? The answer is no. he's done for the season. If that is how they play the rest of the season, he's done.
I don't think that's how they're going to play.
They're not going to bring him. Okay, but the thing is that, okay, let's say he can come back beginning of December. Okay. I don't even know what week that is.
Maybe week 12.
Okay, so let's say they're 3-8.
Yeah. Well, yeah, they're not going to bring him back then.
Yeah, but I think that's what this team is. I think this team is a bad team outside of David Johnson. Carson Palmer, he was done last year. He shouldn't have come back this year. I think that you're going to see a change in regime there at quarterback. Fitzgerald's getting old. Like, the whole situation is bad. And I have a feeling that you should move on as if you will never see him this season.
Yeah.
I think you should try to get him. You could probably get some decent value for him
in redraft.
Yeah, I don't think you're going to get anything high. You're not going to get any like number ones. You can maybe get a number 2 or 3.
What would you be shooting for then? Like, you got a player or like a type of player in mind? Like,
I'd probably be looking for maybe like trying to think.
Like, how about like Gillislee?
Yeah, and maybe something else like another.
I don't know.
Maybe you don't think like another number 2 or 3 or something?
I don't know. Like I said, I mean, if you're talking, you would have to right now, or in the foreseeable future, in the short term, find the person that you think has a chance of making the championship game.
Yep. Because
that's all they're going to be used for. Like, if that person doesn't have a strong enough team, I mean, like, I don't know. If that team is not strong enough as a team that they would need David Johnson to win the championship game, they probably aren't going to make the championship. So right. You're probably looking at a guy that maybe has, Le'Veon Bell already. Is he really going to, pay you very much? I mean, I almost would say that after watching it, it's like, well, he's probably worth maybe, I don't know, even Gillislee. He had, 3 touchdowns?
3, yep.
No way somebody's going to trade 3 touchdowns for a guy that might play 1 game and get you 1 touchdown.
That kind of brings up a point, though. If you do have, like, say, Le'Veon Bell, better days are ahead for Le'Veon Bell. So if you had the chance to combine Le'Veon Bell and David Johnson, because – like, would you do it? Like, would you because
I would love that. I would love that in Dynasty, VC. Like Dynasty, I think that would be the smartest play ever. Because let's face it, like that injury, a wrist injury, I'm not concerned about that at all.
Nope.
I'm not worried about that. That's not his knee. That's not his legs. That I don't care. Honestly, I'm a little shocked that they can't just wrap it up in some sort of I don't know. But is it his ball carrying hand? I don't even know. But part of me was like, well, maybe they can just wrap it up or something. But I think in redrafts, I don't know how you can have a crystal ball and know that you're going to make a playoffs and you're going to trade a guy that week 1 had 3 touchdowns. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, I just don't see that's a realistic thought process.
But like, you hear how VC's looking at it. There's people in your leagues that are going to look at it that it's going to be David Johnson. They're, oh my God,
yeah,
I have David Johnson, even if he's not going to play. And that's what I would be trying. I would take Gillislee in a heartbeat. Like, if I could get somebody to trade me him.
If you are the David Johnson owner, what I'm saying is that I don't think that the Gillislee owner is going to make that trade.
I think that if it's depends on who the person is, like if it's somebody that is going to, somebody that's on name recognition, or maybe somebody that does believe he's going to come back on the earlier side of the timeline, you're taking a risk. And if somebody could give up a player like that, it might be worth it. Like,
I know that I'm going to get some crap for this because it's just one of my loves, but. Right now, before a game is played, trade for Devontae Parker.
Yeah.
Okay, that at least you can play off hey, this is this is a guy that's probably your number 3 wide receiver. Like,
Sure.
he has upside, but we haven't seen it yet. And maybe he comes back and, David Johnson comes back in 2 months. Then you have him through the entire end of the season and into the playoff run. You can make that. I just don't think that you're going to be able to make a case to get a starting running back out of David Johnson, even playing the short field of it.
Right. What if you went after like Doug Martin, like somebody that's already going to miss like the first 5 games? Be like, oh, you're already going to lose 5 games of them. Why not take a chance and maybe you'll get David Johnson back in week 11 or 12? I don't know. It's worth a shot. Like, I would send out offers if I was owning David Johnson. I probably would not throw him on my IR just because you never know what's going to happen. Try to get some immediate value and try to get somebody else to take that worry. But what I do want to ask you guys, do you have any faith in Kerwin Williams?
A few years ago, he did have flashes.
I don't know. I think they're going to be an RB committee. I think they're going to toss Ellington in there. Ellington with the passing down back. I think you're going to see first 2.
Ellington won't make it 3 or 4 games. He is the most injury riddled. The fact that he did not get hurt by taking a carry last week is shocking to me. I mean, it was like all the typical players that were going to go down went down. Danny Woodhead, Kevin White. I mean, like, we just saw these guys and they're like, yep, of course they went down.
Yeah, you weren't surprised. It was sad, but I think if you get Kerwin Williams and they're playing the Colts this week and he has a good game, sell him immediately. Yeah. Flip him for as high of value as you can, because I don't trust him. And even if he has a good game, it's not going to make me think it. Like, he could literally rush for 125 yards and score a touchdown this week, and I'm going to tell you to sell him because I have no faith.
Yeah.
VC, you agree? I mean, you like some Kerwin?
I think if redraft you're looking for him, it's just to help get points in there. He's not going to replace a David Johnson.
Yeah.
You don't like the situation, like you said, because it's not like he's a rookie behind it where he like, oh, he has some possible upside. You know what he is. You know what he does. And like I said, they're going to be mixing in Ellington too. And if that passing game doesn't get going, it's going to be rough.
Yeah. And that was the thing, though, is that David Johnson couldn't get the running game going, but David Johnson still had 6 catches. So, I mean, that was the bonus of David Johnson, is that no matter what, he was on the field. Like you said, VC, is that on passing downs, Ellington's going to be in there as long as he's healthy. And so, that takes away that enormous value that you got out of David Johnson. Even if he does rush very well, he's not going to be the one that's catching the ball. And that's a big problem because, especially in PPR leagues where you were getting those, legitimately 5 to 10 catches a game was totally normal for David Johnson on top of, the almost 100 yards rushing. So, there's no replacing. You're not going to get anybody on the waiver wire to replace David Johnson. So get that crap out of your head if you even have that as a thought.
So let's just like parlay that into a guy that might have been on your waiver wire by this time. He's definitely off of it. Tarik Cohen for the Bears had a pretty exciting first rookie game. He had 8 catches for 47 yards, saw 12 targets. He also scored a touchdown on one of those catches. He had 5 rushes for like 66 yards. I think he busted off 1 long run. The rest were kind of mediocre. But Atlanta, not good against pass-catching running backs. The dude looked exciting. Jordan Howard still rushed for like 55 yards on 13 carries, scored a rushing touchdown. He saw a few catches as well. Do you guys think that was more a product of Atlanta being terrible against pass-catching running backs? Plus, Cohen's definitely talented. He's got talent, but do you guys think that it's more just it happened because of the game flow and the defense they was playing, or do you think he's the real deal?
Cohen has always been a dynamic player. He's not going to be your starting running back. Like he's not going to be your every down guy. He is more of that dynamic player who's going to give you those flashes, going to come in on passing downs. He'll run some too, but he's not going to be like a Jordan Howard. I think that you don't have to be as scared with him. Yeah, he's going to add some dimension to that offense. He will play more of a role, I think, since he showed what he can do, but also that part of that was product of the Atlanta defense and with the game flow and how it was going. But he's a dynamic player, so I think he's going to be that kind of passing down, flashing kind of guy. He's not going to be your first two down guy.
Yeah, would you? So you don't really think he's going to carry like flex value even?
Oh, I think he's going to carry flex value, absolutely.
Could you see?
I guess I'm just trying not to panic about Jordan Howard losing his job, I guess. But I absolutely see him having some flex value, almost like a Gio Bernard. When that situation was like it was just him and Jeremy Hill. That's what kind of like a back I kind of see him, where he can carry in a PPR league. He can carry standalone value in the flex spot.
Yeah,
I mean, as an actual rusher, I mean. I remember that he was really short, but I was trying to remember how short. He's literally as tall as Darren Sproles. He's 5'6". Yeah. So I mean, he's a tiny guy, and so he's not going to be a between the tackles kind of guy. What concerns me though is that I think that Howard needed the volume to get the amount of work or the amount of yards that he did get, and I'm concerned that now that there's somebody taking that away from him, and I think it might be considerable. Like even if you're talking that 25% of the carries or touches go to Cohen instead of Howard, that's a problem because you barely had Langford coming in there or Kadeem Carey last year, and so it's hard to look at this as a good thing for Jordan Howard owners. And now I think that having Cohen, if you're able to pick him up off the waiver wire and use him in either your flex spot or, on bye weeks and things like that, and when he hits, he's going to hit, I think that's great. I think that the biggest issue, though, is that it worries me about, the value and where you were drafting Jordan Howard and what you were expecting from him. I think he almost goes from that late, running back 1 to maybe like a top end running back 2 with this development.
Man, I know that I'm a Jordan Howard truther. Like I've liked what he brought. I don't think
you're telling me I
don't think it's that bad.
You're preaching to the choir. Like
I felt you were starting to jump off the Jordan Howard train already, though. Like, and this has maybe just like pushed you a little
because
bit
of
more.
It's because of how overvalued I think he was. I think that if you had him on your fantasy team, you knew what he was. He wasn't, a top 5 running back, but he was kind of going right around there. And I think that's the problem that I have with it is that his value, I knew that you weren't going to get that value again. So I didn't like where he was going. Not that I don't like what he can do, but now add this dynamic into it, and that's a big problem for me.
Well, I think that Chicago has no pass catchers. Tariq Cohen's probably going to be the best wide receiver on that team. So they're not going to use him for running as much as – it's not going to take away from Howard that much, I don't think. Howard's not a pass-catching back. You already knew that going into it. What you were hoping was that he was going to see a lot of volume, and I still think that he could see a lot of volume. You're probably worried about game scripts and worried about Chicago being terrible. It's got to be promising seeing that they kept up with Atlanta and that their defense was good enough to hold them to 24 points. Like, if they can stay in games, I think that Howard could be a mid, RB1. I'm trying to pull up the running back list real quick just to look at some names that are around him, but you don't agree with that, Alex? You don't?
I don't know. I guess I need a couple more games because I don't like his stat line, even though they were in that game the whole time. I watched a lot of that game. I didn't like how he was running.
He wasn't
getting a lot. He didn't get a lot of holes either. Like I don't know. I mean, I don't know what the issue was. It just didn't feel right. There was just something about the whole situation that didn't feel right. And then they get the ball to Cohen, and then he just did whatever he wanted. And I think that has a lot to do with the fact that they just weren't planning for Cohen, and they only had to game plan for one guy. Now, if Cohen is now part of that game plan, maybe it opens it up a little bit for Howard. So I think we'll see.
That's what I'd be hoping as well. All right, well, let's talk about some rookie running backs, because there was a lot of exciting performances. Just like Cohen's, the biggest one of all was Kareem Hunt on Thursday night. So he started off, the first game of the season. And
can we go ahead and would you like to who do you think won that bet?
Which bet was that one?
That bet was that Kareem Hunt would do better than Amari Cooper and Keenan Allen points wise.
I would still take my side of it. I think that's going to be
definitely lost.
No, that's going to be Kareem Hunt's best game of the year. He's definitely not going to score more points than that.
I mean, it was only for week one. You already lost.
That was not only for week one. That was for the season. That bet was not for week one.
It was for week one.
I thought it was just for week one.
It was for week one. That was all it was.
Oh, God dang it. Really?
Yep. Sorry.
Yeah, because we were talking about who to play over in week one.
No. I'm going to have to go back and listen. So, well, obviously there's nothing I was going to do. Let's talk about Kareem Hunt's value the rest of the season moving forward. That was a good bet by you. I think that was way more than what you expected. But New England's defense looked horrible. They got completely gashed. Kareem Hunt looked like a stud, though.
Alex Smith
looked insane.
But I don't know. Like I feel like one of the things that they pointed out, and you guys watch that game?
Yeah, or some of it.
Part of it.
I don't know if you heard them, but they were kind of ripping on him a little bit. Like basically, like they almost mad scientisted the whole thing a little bit too much. Like they had way too many new parts on the defense and way too many new parts on the offense, and it was just like, you're just assuming, oh well, we're New England, we can do whatever the hell we want, and obviously at least against Kansas City they couldn't. And for that offense that's honestly kind of stale to look that amazing, I think that has to do more with New England's defense not being able to pull it together than it has anything to do with Alex Smith being an MVP this year.
Yeah, you're not running out to the waiver wire to grab Alex Smith.
I mean, I don't think it's a bad pickup, but I also think, you've got to look at his past 13 seasons, 12 seasons.
Right. They play
the body of work doesn't hold that.
No. Yeah, I think if you're a two quarterback league, you definitely want to have him on the roster.
Yeah. Yep.
I could see him maybe like you drafted a quarterback real late. Maybe you can do him as a streamer. Maybe you're not happy with your quarterback you have, and you just want to stream quarterbacks. Some people will do that with a stream. I think he's worth a stream.
Yeah.
But I think there's other quarterbacks in there that you feel more comfortable with on a week-to-week basis, knowing that they can go over 300 yards passing. And,
that was
more.
I was just going to say, that was only the 6th time he's ever gone over 300 in his career.
That does not surprise me one bit.
A lot of quarterbacks do that in a season. And in 12 seasons previous, only 5 times.
And
that's crazy.
Kansas City talked about changing up their offense a little bit. So maybe we'll see how week 2 goes. But I would still just be expecting Alex Smith to be Alex Smith. Real quick, not to talk about it too much more, but I don't really want to talk about Sam Bradford more than we have to. But would you rather have Sam Bradford or Alex Smith rest of the season moving on?
Sam Bradford.
Easily?
Yeah.
Yeah. They went and upgraded their offensive line. They've now got a dynamic running back.
Oh, yeah.
So that's really going to help open that passing game, and he's got more time. Sam Bradford's not a bad quarterback if he's got time, and you saw what he did when he had time. He shredded. Granted, it's the Saints defense,
right?
He was just able to throw all over him. It was crazy.
And Bradford's always been an accurate quarterback. Like last year, he was very accurate, and he was just slinging that rock like precision. He looked really good. New Orleans defense is terrible, so let's not get away from that too. But Bradford did look good. Yes. Dalvin Cook looked really good, and I wish that I would have not bought into that damn training camp rookie combine bullcrap, because you saw what he was on tape at Florida State. He looked like that running back, I thought.
Yeah. Yep. That combine was terrible, but
I think he started off the game sluggish, but I think as time went on, he got more and more comfortable in his role. Although he did drop some passes that I would like to see him catch.
Yes.
He had 3 drop passes in the red zone.
Yep.
And oh my gosh. So I hope he turns that around, because he was one of those pass catching backs. That's why he was so dynamic. So he's got to get that changed, and I think his value goes way up.
Yeah, and they have Jerick McKinnon, who can catch passes, but he had a couple drops too. So he might not lose that completely, but you were hoping that he would make those catches. But other than that, I thought he was hitting holes good. I thought he was moving really well. He looked like an NFL running back. Like if you got the eye test and you are hoping that he looks like an NFL running back, he definitely passed that to me.
Oh, yeah, and he made people miss. And he actually, like I said, as the game went on, his game got better. And I just think that's, being his first game as a rookie and stuff, to be expected. But, I think once that defense wore down, he really outshined them and stuff, and his talent came out.
Mm-hmm. And before I ask, which one you guys choose, Leonard Fournette looked really good as well. They utilized him kind of exactly how they said they were hoping to. Jaguars, got up early and they ran the ball a ton, and I feel like they did a pretty good job of keeping the ball out of Blake Bortles' hands. Allen Robinson went down towards ACL, done for the year. I just don't think you want to own any of that passing game. Leonard Fournette, though, with that passing game being so terrible, do you guys think that he can continue to see usage like that?
Yes.
I would assume so, but I'm a little concerned about that, though.
What concern?
I'm very concerned.
Okay, so we now have the top, 3 or 4? Well, of the top 4, we have 3 of them that are hurt or out for the season, and for wide receivers. And so we've been talking about it for, basically a season and a half at this point, that Bortles is not accurate. He's thrown all over the place. And so put the ball in his hands and he's going to screw up. So all you have to do is stack the box. I'm not even a coach, and I've already come up with the way to beat the Jaguars.
Their defense is good, though. Their defense looked legit.
The real deal. I think they're the real deal. They built it that way. You were just kind of waiting for this to happen, and I think you can actually own them instead of stream them. That's just my opinion. But and maybe it's just because I got scared at the beginning of the season with that foot injury, that I saw that much usage, and I'm scared about his injury. Yeah, I'm still just kind of scared, just amount of usage. And then are they gonna stack? When are they gonna start, stacking that box? And he's going to see a lot more of that.
This week they should.
Yeah, because they have Marquise Lee and Allen Robinson as their, 1-2 guys now.
Allen Hurns.
What did I say?
Allen Robinson.
He's dead. Oh, I'm sorry. R.I.P. Oh, man.
R.I.P.
Yeah. My bad. Yeah, I meant that. Yeah, Marquise Lee and Allen Hurns. You're excited. You got to see the numbers, especially you see Leonard Fournette getting that passing game was good to see. Having those catches and stuff. And I text you guys this. on Sunday when I saw the amount of usage that he had. It just scares me.
Mm-hmm.
It's just because a foot injury and then amount that much usage to it just is going to have to scare me. But I think in order for them to be good, I think they have to use them.
Yeah, they ran them 26 times, 100 yards, scored. So we got 3 catches.
Yes.
So after this week 1, and you go back and you're doing a rookie draft, which one of those guys are you drafting?
First?
Yeah, first.
After what we just talked about, I think I'd go Dalvin Cook.
Yeah.
That's kind of where my head is too. Like I feel like Hunt was good, but isn't going to be that good all the time. I think Fournette, you're looking at it and you're like, okay, how is he going to get hurt because of the usage? I think right now the one that's sitting in kind of the sweet spot is Dalvin Cook.
Yeah.
But don't knock out Mixon. I mean, Mixon right now is sharing the load with Jeremy.
Yeah, Jeremy Hill and Giovanni Bernard.
Yeah, and I mean Mixon's 5 for 21, so that's 4.2 yards per carry. Hill is 6 for 17 with 2.8, and then Gio is 5 for 10, which is 2. So I mean he's the best running back. The problem is that right now there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 people that have ran the ball. Like other than that's not Dalton. Dalton's had 2 runs, but
sure,
that's a lot of hands, and especially the fact that you've got 16 carries between 3 guys. Ugh.
Yeah,
and divided equally, 6, 5, and 5. I don't like that, but.
Joe Mixon's definitely talented. And, like, if you're talking dynasty, I still, he's way up there.
Oh, yeah.
But just like, and even talking like redraft this year, that's kind of what I was getting at with these guys. We knew that Joe Mixon was going to take a little bit longer, but I think we kind of underestimated a little bit how quickly these rookies were going to impact their teams. Like,
yeah,
I don't want to say Dalvin Cook surprised me because I knew that he was talented. I was pretty surprised watching him, like, as the game went on, like,
well, I was like, I was shocked. I was like, oh, he's starting because Murray's still injured. But then Murray played like a couple snaps. Yeah. And was just like, so they're like, they hate him then.
Yes.
They hate him.
That poor guy, he just got to Minnesota and they're like, nope, bad call. Like, he cannot get any love anywhere. And it's just like Dalvin Cook took over that job now. There's no way you put Murray in it as a starter now.
No, why would you?
No.
Dalvin Cook has such a better pedigree. Like, obviously, I liked what Latavius Murray had shown before. He's too tall. He doesn't have it. Yeah, I don't think it's going to happen for him, unfortunately.
Let's just convert him to a wide receiver. Like,
do something different.
Tight end.
Yeah, something like that.
They want him to be a goal line back. He scores touchdowns. He's good at that. He's tall. He can fall in the end zone. Long reach. He can reach out there and cross the goal line. But, like, I feel like Dalvin Cook can be a workhorse in the NFL.
Yeah.
I loved him. Let's talk about Le'Veon Bell. Cleveland. I think you were hoping for a little bit more than he gave you this week. Any concern in what they did, or do you think that was him just line? Like it was 10 rushes, 32 yards, 3 catches on 6 targets for 15 yards?
Wait, what was his yardage?
32 yards rushing and 15 yards receiving. Jesus. And it's not like it was a blowout or anything. Like, Cleveland was in that game. It was at least competitive.
I wonder if they weren't putting more work on him because of so much time.
What do you mean more work?
Like they weren't putting work on him.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they weren't
taking it easy on him.
Yeah, because I mean, he didn't have that many carries either.
Well, even still, like Connor only had 4, so there was only outside of Roethlisberger's 3 carries for -8 yards. There was only 14 carries in the whole game. I mean, for Pittsburgh, that's insane.
Yeah,
I mean,
and it may have just been scheme right now. They're doing so well in the passing. Well, at least Antonio Brown was. It's just ridiculous.
Antonio Brown's the best wide receiver in the NFL.
I
There's
think
no debate about that.
Yeah,
that is true, and I think out of all, I think he's the only fantasy football player besides Kareem Hunt that actually did awesome. You were expecting Antonio Brown to be awesome. I think everybody else that you were expecting did.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Like it was one of those things where it felt like an off week. And usually week one, you get to see, it's like, all these guys are ready to go. And it really seemed like defenses kind of shut down those main guys.
Yeah, anymore. It just seemed kind of like it seemed like an extension of the preseason. It seemed like teams were rusty. Stefon Diggs on Monday night, I thought he looked awesome.
So excited about that.
I wish I would have been higher on him too. Like
but I don't know. I'm still not a believer. I just can't.
I think I'm actually glad that Dalvin Cook's there they upgraded the offensive line because I think that now really opens up things for Stefon Diggs. And you saw Theismann too. I mean, he had 157 yards.
Thielen,
sorry.
I was like, who?
Theismann came out of retirement.
No, Thielen. Don't sleep on that either. Like Thielen showed last year. Like we thought maybe it was just a flash. Maybe he was, not going to live up to that. They could be a potent passing offense if Bradford can keep that going. If their offensive line is as improved as it looked, because on paper, like going into the season, it did look improved. When we saw it Monday night, it definitely looked better. And if it is, Minnesota could be a scary team to deal with this year because they still have a great defense. They have good weapons. Thielen looked good. I thought Stefon Diggs looked like a real deal receiver. He was running very crisp routes. When he got his hands on the ball, he made good for it. He had a couple really nice. Well, he had one nice touchdown catch. The other one was wide open. But
I mean, let's also not bury the lead here. Treadwell had a catch.
No, Treadwell did have a catch.
He equaled last year.
Did you hear him? Did you hear the crowd cheer him when he caught it? Were you watching it? It was funny. They cheered him. It was hilarious. I cheered. I stood up. I slow clapped it. I was excited to see it. It was late in the game, but Stefon Diggs is awesome, and I think that Go ahead, Josh.
Go ahead. Sorry.
No, go for it.
I was going to say I think it's going to be your PPR guy who's going to get tons of receptions, but Diggs is going to be the guy who's going to get you your touchdowns.
Yeah,
I think Thielen's that almost that Julian Edelman, or he kind of that guy who
he's white.
Don't just say because he's
white. He's white.
I didn't think he looked anything like Edelman. Like
he looked just like that Humphrey guy from Tampa Bay. What?
He wasn't running.
All right, what is Julian Edelman known
slot?
for? What is Julian Edelman known for? Well, but PPR though, right?
Yeah, but I would
or Jarvis Landry.
I would say Stefon Diggs is more that. I'd say Thielen's more of a route runner out in the field. Yeah, no, he's not a slot receiver. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong.
I just thought he's that PPR guy that you looked at, or Jarvis Landry. Jarvis is in the slot too, though. But
yeah, that's what more stuff on Diggs. That's not Thielen. I think Thielen's going to be more your downfield guy.
I don't know. I just felt like he got so many targets, he got so many receptions, but he didn't see the end zone.
Yeah, but he was running routes. Like I don't know what his average depth of target was, his ADOT, but I thought he was getting deeper downfield and making those catches. But I think either one of them. Do you think that Thielen is like where would you put him? Like category? Is he a wide receiver 3? Is he a wide receiver 2?
Wide receiver 2.
I mean, yeah, I think
that top 24.
Yeah, look how he finished last year. Yeah, I know. Alex always says like, don't look at the your numbers with him and stuff, but like, I mean, the guy can put up over 150 yards. I mean, he's going to have that value you want.
Even the one, I mean, he put up 157 yards and only one, and he had a 44 yard. So it's not even like he had like an 85 yard catch and then everything else was dink and dunk. I mean, 44 yards was the longest. He still had 110 yards after that and still 9 catches. I mean, you can't scoff at that either. So, I mean, it's obvious that he's part of the game plan.
He was, for sure.
So if you're looking at, him and Diggs are splitting time, you got Cook running in. They could be a tough team, to be completely honest.
Mm-hmm.
And I honestly thought they were going to be a very vanilla team this year. So
and starting off the season against the Saints defense is how you want to get your offense started off on the right foot. Mm-hmm. If they could just carry on that momentum, because they looked very exciting, and you don't know how much of that is the defense that they're playing, but if they can just resemble that for the rest of the season and run those same kind of game plans, they could be a very scary team to deal with.
How did their defense look, though?
How
good did Minnesota's defense look, though?
Yeah, I thought.
I mean, that's a good defense right there.
Yeah, and I think that's nothing that surprised anybody. They were exactly what you thought they were going to be, and they shut down New Orleans, which I honestly, like, no joke, I had Drew Brees starting in one of my leagues, and I picked up Sam Bradford. The thought crossed my mind on putting in Sam Bradford instead of Drew Brees, and I was like, there is no way I can make that decision with what Drew Brees is. Wish I would have. It would have been a smart decision. But even the fact that I thought it, I gave myself a little credit for that. So, so who are some other Week 1 underperformers that you guys thought? How about DeMarco Murray, Alex? I know we had kind of talked about him before.
That honestly, like, you would assume, okay, well, if DeMarco Murray wasn't good, then that means that Derrick Henry was good. Neither one of them was good. I don't know what happened. I mean, the Raiders have a decent defense. They don't have an amazing defense. So what was the problem? Like, I don't know. It was a strange day. It worries me as a DeMarco Murray owner. It worries me that maybe DeMarco is starting to show the cracks of the amount of usage that he has had over the course of 4 out of the last 5 years, not including Philadelphia. And so I don't know. I'm a little concerned about it. I'm a little concerned. Just about he was a little iffy even last year. Like, he would have really good games, and then he would have these kind of weird weeks that he just didn't look right. And then he had a couple of games where he was hurt. And I'm just, they also want to get Derrick Henry on the field. So if he has a couple of bad games, and you don't have Derrick Henry as a handcuff, I think Derrick Henry is maybe one of the most important handcuffs you could possibly have right now, in my opinion, because they spent a high draft pick on him. And he's a dynamic runner. He's a touchdown guy and a big dude. I mean, we've talked about Latavius Murray not being able to get it going, but he's a big dude. And I think that once he takes over, he's going to take over in a big way. It's just, when is that going to happen? Yeah. And if I were a DeMarco Murray owner, if you're able to get, Derrick Henry on the waiver wire after a week like that, I would get him. Just to be on the safe side.
Derrick Henry should not be on your waiver wire. If he is, you need to look at your team, reevaluate yourself, and see where you can cut, because you need to get him on there. Because DeMarco Murray was injured twice in the preseason already. And like you said, he was injured, some last year. He's been injury prone. We've seen it before. It's just he's like one bad injury away from Derrick Henry being a workhorse.
Yep, absolutely.
Any other players from Week 1 that you want to talk about? I think we kind of touched on the major ones that I wanted to, the ones that really excited me. It was just kind of a blah week. Like, a lot of high-scoring defenses.
Yeah.
Alex, maybe we'll push it more in our upcoming episodes, but we did do our DraftKings for the last week for the Four Horsemen.
Mm-hmm.
Alex was the winner. I was very proud of you. You had Alex Smith. I think that was what kind of locked it up for you.
And it was a complete joke.
Yep.
It was a complete joke.
It worked out, though. So
yeah.
But looking forward to this week, what games on this slate are you guys most excited about?
I mean, the homer pick for me, I'm actually a little interested, and this is outside of being a Philadelphia fan. I'm kind of interested about Philadelphia versus Kansas City, because what I'm interested about is that, Philadelphia has a nice young defense. Unfortunately, they suffered injury. They just got Darby, and I didn't hear if he was out for the season or not.
What I saw was he wasn't. Like his MRI it came back good though. Like it wasn't bad damage. I think it was like 6 to 8 weeks, maybe. I could be wrong.
That's
not season end.
Yeah. So I mean that was a big hit, but they have gotten kind of stacked in that area. Unfortunately, they have him out and Sidney Jones, who probably won't even be this season. But the defensive backs are pretty good. I mean, Fletcher Cox is one of the best defensive tackles in the league, and he even had a touchdown. That defense has been slowly building to something, and I think that they're finally starting to get to that point where they could be a top 5 defense. So having said that, we saw an explosion out of Kansas City that we haven't seen in years, really. And so how is that going to match up? Like, is Philly, really taking a step in the direction of becoming one of those kind of top 5 defenses? Or is Kansas City switched up their game plan and now they're a formidable offense? So I think that's one thing I mean, I also, the same can be said because you got a good defense in Kansas City and then, an up and coming Eagles offense. So, kind of seeing where that's going to shake out as well. But I think that's a really interesting game.
I think so too. I think that to see can Alex Smith put up that type of numbers again. Also to see if Carson Wentz can, because he actually put up really good numbers. Went over 300 yards, multiple touchdowns, and so you want to see like, all right, he's going up against a good defense this time. Can he do the same thing and be a valuable fantasy quarterback for you? And then you're excited to see those offensive weapons in Kansas City and see how they do. So I think so too. I'm really excited about not necessarily the game, but a team is Tampa Bay. I was really hoping to see them last week,
right.
With everything went on, and so them playing this week, with their several new weapons, I guess you should say, on offense. I'm excited to see what they look like and what's going to be like.
And actually, sorry. I was just saying, actually, both those teams, Tampa Bay and Miami, they have some talented players that you're either banking on, like with Mike Evans, or you're interested to see, like my homeboy Devontae Parker. So,
one thing about Devontae, I have a feeling that Devontae Parker is not going to get a breakout game this week because he's going up against some good cornerbacks in the Chargers.
They
got two good.
All he needs,
Verrett's awesome.
All he needs is one guy to fall down for a 98-yard touchdown. That's how he does. He's kind of like I want him to be more than the Brandon Cooks of Miami, and I'm hoping that happens this year. But if he ends up being the Brandon Cooks of Miami, I wouldn't be shocked either. So that's kind of where this season is kind of where I need to where I get to completely embrace how much I love him, or I finally have to say, all right, it's time for you to go.
Yeah. How about the New Orleans New England game? That's one that I'm really excited to see. I want to see if – I don't think that Tom Brady's fallen off. I think that it was just a rough first game going up against Kansas City. I want – to see that game. I think that game's gonna be fireworks. Like, do you guys agree, or do you think that maybe Brady's done?
I think that
What do you think? What do you think, Van Cleve?
Sorry, I just think it was just kind of rust. I don't think he necessarily showed his age. I think it was just more it being the first game of the season, and I don't think you have to worry too much about Brady. Sorry, go on, Alex.
I honestly am gonna comment on the other half of it. I don't think it's a Brady issue. Like Brady's gonna like fall off the way. I think honestly, Drew Brees, this might be his Peyton season.
You think
that's
so?
That's my call. I like.
Is it something from week one that made you think that, or is it just what?
It's just father. I don't know. It's just okay. The thing is that how Breeze works is with big plays. How Brady works is dink and dunk. That's why you don't have to worry as much about Brady because so much of his game is just dump passes and then and him reading the coverage. He's not going to not be able to read the coverage. So his age doesn't mean anything for that. His age would mean something if he needed to long bomb it. He doesn't have a great arm. He's never really had a great arm. So that him losing that is not like how it was when Peyton lost his arm. Like, because Peyton, he needed his arm because he had a big play kind of caliber arm, and that's what Drew Brees has. Drew Brees will probably fall off first because of that, because of their styles, and I'm concerned just by the last season or so that maybe we're on the precipice of that. I don't know.
Like, I don't think there was anything in week one that would make you think that. They're playing the Vikings. It's a tough defense. He still threw for 290 yards and a touchdown, no interceptions. It wasn't like he was terrible. He was decent. Yeah. It's just you have these high expectations of Drew Brees, like always throwing for 350 yards and a few touchdowns. Sometimes you play good defenses. New England, horrible defense. I could see this game being a complete shootout, like 37-30. You know what I mean? I don't know, something four plus touchdowns on each side.
So that running back situation for New Orleans, pretty clear, right?
Well, it's definitely not Adrian Peterson.
Oh my, no.
He looked pissed.
Yeah, he was pissed. I didn't even see what the end line was.
It
was bad. I got pulled up. You want to hear it? He had six carries for 18 yards.
Oh, God.
Yeah, and I think it was one of his worst stat lines ever, right? Lowest carries and lowest yards.
Yep.
Since his rookie season.
Yep. The rookie actually got more touches than both of them combined.
Yeah, Kamara, I guess is what it is.
Yeah, I didn't realize his name was Kamara. I thought it was Kamara, but it is Kamara.
Don't sleep on Mark Ingram, though. I mean, it was all towards the end of the game when he got his catches. He had 5 catches for 55 yards. Kamara had 6 catches, so they're going to utilize Mark Ingram. Mark Ingram looked better as a runner, I thought, through the tackles. And that's never been New Orleans' strong suit of their game. They used him in the pass game still. When it came down to it, when they needed him to get out there, they were hitting him on those little short passes. It was one of the final drives. So
I do need to point out how insane this this is why I hate wide receivers from the Saints. Mark Ingram, 5 for 54. Colby Fleener, 5 for 54. Ginn, 4 for 53. Lewis, 2 for 52. Michael Thomas, 5 for 45. Like, it's just like, if that's the game plan, you got to be worried. Like, if that's going to be, I don't know.
I don't think if you're a Michael Thomas owner, I would not worry. I think he saw 8 targets. It was a tough matchup, and like I'm going to keep saying that. Like, I think Michael Thomas is going to be okay. Drew Brees was still looking his way fairly often. You know that they're going to spread the ball around. Like, you knew that if you were talking yourself out of that, then you're doing yourself a disservice because you know that he's going to spread the ball around. Michael Thomas still looked like he's going to be like a top-notch NFL receiver to me.
Yeah.
But Brent never made it on the show. I really don't have anything else I want to talk about tonight. We need to put together some DK stuff. I know people don't want to hear all the DFS talk all the time, but I love it. And this last week maybe love it even more. I think next week we'll work in a little bit more DFS talk. But for now, I think we just need to wrap it up. I'm going to be off weekends now, so I'll be able to watch football every weekend. Woo! I'm really, really excited about that.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Really excited. I didn't say at the beginning of the show because I got so excited about talking week 1 games. Follow us on Twitter, guys. Get on their 4 Horsemen pod. I saw another 4 Horsemen account on Twitter. I was pissed. They had 38,000 followers. I was mad. It's a 4, the number 4 Horsemen pod at 4 Horsemen pod. Follow us on Twitter. Send emails to the same Gmail account, 4horsemenpod@gmail.com. We will answer any start set questions. Anytime you hit me up on Twitter, I have that thing pretty much open all the time now. So follow us, send us emails, come back and listen. We'll see how week 2 works out for us, and we'll have the whole game back together next week, I think. So, peace.